Hello, I'm Steven, the calculator guy, and today we're talking about Donku R's Long Luna Infinity Loop. So he posted this yesterday technically, but I saw it this morning and I thought the idea was awesome, so I immediately started making a calculator for it. And so I did that, right? So here's the calculator, but before we get to the calculator, let's first understand what we're looking at. So basically, we see here, it says borrow against B Luna, which is collateralized Luna, on the Anchor protocol, with a safe LTV around 30%. So 30% LTV is safe. Then set a bid with the loan on Orca, and then take the snipped B Luna to increase collateral position. Okay, so this is actually not that difficult to understand. It's very similar to the looping that we did in other videos, where you sort of collateralize one asset, like let's say you collateralize USDC, and then you, for like 10% APR, then you borrow USDC at a 5% APR, and then you just re-collateralize it and loop and loop and loop. Except this time you're doing it with what he says, what he calls snipped B Luna that you've liquidated on Orca. So pretty much what you would do is you would go to bond and you would bond your Luna, however much you might have, and then with your, after you've bonded it, you would go over to borrow. You would borrow against your B Luna. So and by the way, you'd be getting an APR off of that, which is pretty cool. You'd be getting 3.35% APR. Then you would borrow against your B Luna, 30% in this case. You would get UST, and with your UST, you'd place a bid on Orca. You'd place a bid probably somewhere between 5 and 8%. You can see there's, it's only been emptied 3 times, whereas ones over here have been emptied 34 times. So you're much more likely to get your bid filled if you do like a 4% or 6%. Basically, the way this works is you're bidding on liquidations. The premium is the discount, so you would get Luna for a 6% discount effectively. So like 94% of the Luna price at that time is what you would pay for it, which is pretty good, really good. So here, I've sort of set up the whole mechanism with 0 loops, which at 0 loops, right, let's just say the price of Luna is $50, and you've collateralized 100 Luna. So you have $5,000 of Luna collateralized. You borrow 30% against that. So you borrow 1,500. You take that 1,500 over here, and you're aiming for the 6% premium. And let's just say, for the sake of this, the liquidation price is $30. Now, it could be anything, because we don't know what the borrower, what they collateralized at. So we don't know necessarily like their lending and borrowing specifications. So people could technically be liquidated at any price. They could be liquidated at 2 pennies beneath the current market value. But I just think they're more likely to be liquidated at, whatever this price is, or like roughly down by 30 to 40 to 50%. Like that's a reasonable expectation for some liquidation. That's good. Okay, so let me turn this back to 50. So what I've done here is I've made like a set of assumptions that are definitely not good assumptions. Again, these are all editable. So these assumptions are that you will wait until Luna goes back up to 50 before borrowing again, and you would not have to do that. But you could do like 40, right? That's sort of reasonable. You could say, okay, it's back to $40. They got liquidated on this super big wick, and now it's back at 40. So you take that 53.2 Luna, you add that to your collateral, and then you borrow against 30% of that, which will give you $638. You have to remember, you already spent that $1,500 on discounted Luna, and then you took that $1,500 of discounted Luna that you bought, and you re-collateralized it. So now you borrow against that newly added collateral, and you get $638 to go back to Kujira and bid again. And so each loop that you do this, you can see, well, your ROI is negative initially if the price goes down by 20%, and you can play with this, right? If you want to do $45 and then $30 and then $45 and then 50, like eventually you get back in the profit. quite substantially. But I just keep this at 50 just so you can play with it all you want. 505, that'd be intense. Oh yeah, if for whatever reason it goes below a certain number, you get liquidated. So that's why all this is, if this goes above 50%, I'm just assuming you're liquidated. So that's why all of this is not numbers. But I digress. What we care about is sort of understanding this too. So the LTV, the loan to value, is that right? No, loan to something else. LTV stands for, yeah, it is loan to value. Okay. So it's the ratio of your loaned amount to the value of your collateral. So what you'll notice is after the first loop, before you loan again, so I guess it should be LTV before new loan. The LTV before you loan again, so this is, right, you take that 53.2, you recollateralize it, and so now you have 153.2. If you didn't borrow against that, what you would have done effectively is reduced your LTV to 20%, which is really nice because then you're much less likely to be liquidated because you don't get liquidated until your LTV is around 50%. So at 30%, you're 20%, you're not too far away, but you're also not close to 50%. But at 20%, you have much more of a cushion. So, and you can sort of see, like, if it goes down to $30, you're now at 42% before you collateralize. So you collateralize, and you get back to 50. This is the important thing. Like, you always want to get back to 30. So what this calculator shows you is what your total borrow would be. Like, you'd only be able to borrow 254 in order to stay at 30%, if that's the number you want to stay at. So, okay, long story short, what's the ROI, right? Like, is it worth it? Well, the ROI is pretty good. If you do 30%, which Docu says is safe-ish, I think 20% may be much safer. Well, I know it would be safer, but, 30%, sure, whatever your risk tolerance is. But my risk tolerance would probably be a little bit lower than this. The premiums, I might even go for 5% just so I get more of them. I'd have to play with it to see like how frequently these are hitting. But if you look at this, right, you're getting about 50% APR, sorry, 50% ROI after doing this 8 times. So assuming that there's like 2 liquidations per month, in 4 months, you're increasing your Luna stack by 50%. And this is assuming that you pay back your loan. So this is post-loan repayment. This is just like pure ROI. That's really good. And if you look just after 2, like assuming there's 2 liquidations per month and assuming the price goes back to 50, your ROI is 45%. So this is a pretty interesting strategy. The problem is it peaks. So there's a point at which you cannot borrow anymore, and you're sort of stuck in a position where you have quite a bit borrowed against your value. So it's still 30%, but now you have a loan of 3,000, and all of your value is in your Luna. So the issue here is it's kind of hard to pay that back because you would have to decollateralize in order to do that. And it's hard for you to decollateralize because your LTV even before your loan is still so high. So effectively you'd have to wait for your APR to sort of pay it off, or you'd have to take money from a third source, bring it in, and use that to pay off your loan. Granted, your ROI would still be up 40, and whatever this number is at the point you pay back that loan, because this number has F5, right? Has the borrow taken away from it. So what I'm saying is the ROI is post-loan repayment. So it's still pure ROI. So even after you pay back whatever you borrowed, this is still your ROI. And that's the important part. Okay, I know this is kind of like a technical video, and this video may be a bit difficult for some people. The basic like super easy to understand idea here is that you go to Anchor, you collateralize your Luna, turn it into B Luna, then you borrow 30% UST against the value of your B Luna. Now you can do whatever LTV you want, 30%, 20%. Personally, I'm a 20% kind of guy here. 30% seems a bit risky given the current market conditions, but also, you know, Luna has been doing really well. You do you, all right? No recommendations from me, but you know, lower LTV is safer. That's what you need to know. So you do in this hypothetical, you borrow 30%. From that, you go over to Orca. You place a bid, whatever you're comfortable at. I think anywhere between 5 and 6%, so you have a decent chance of hitting. If you want more frequent, so let's just say you wanted to, like, you know, pick up the pace here. So you do 4%, right? Well, that's fine, and you'll get that faster. But remember, you're gonna peak. You're gonna peak at a specific ROI, and it's not gonna go much higher than that. So let's just drag this down. Yeah, that's probably fine. So you're peaking here now around 46% instead of that 50%. And now if we change this to 20% instead of the 30%, what we're going to see is that now we're peaking around 23%. So this is a safer and faster, like you'll probably get to 8 within a couple months. So the frequent, like, you know, you can look at the frequencies, you can play with that. Totally up to you. For example, if we look at the 4%, we have 19 times. If we look at the 6%, we have 8 times. So it's roughly like 2.3 times more frequent to the 4%. So if this is let's just say 2x. Let's make it super easy. If this is 2 times more frequent, then you would imagine twice as many liquidations per month. So to get to that 8 would require half the time. But if we go back to the 6%, let's say we do 6%. Oh gosh, why do I keep doing this? If we do 6% and we double the time, is it really that much better? No. So in my opinion, like the 4% is fine. Because it's the difference of a couple percentages in terms of ROI, and you're going to peak. You're gonna peak pretty quickly. You're gonna peak after, you know, in this case, you're peaking pretty much after the 4th loop. Now, if the higher the LTV is, the more loops you can do for a better return. So, like, if you were just like, I don't know, if you had some insider information and knew that Luna was up only, and did like 40%, right? Let me just, this is going to be far enough. 40%, like, you're doubling your Luna after 13 loops, right? And even at a premium of 4, you're nearly doubling after those 13 loops. So you can see the premium of 4% versus 6% doesn't make a super big difference when you're employing this strategy. You want to get these, in my personal opinion, what I would do is I would get these faster. The reason I want to get these faster is because I want to get to the point where I am all collateralized up as quickly as possible. And so, you know, maybe I'm cool. I mean, these are intense. But look at this, right? You have a 29%, 30% pretty much ROI after the first loop. And you can reduce your collateral. That's great. It's awesome. But again, that's assuming the price goes back to $50. So you can play with these. Like I said, you can run any scenarios that you want where, like, the price goes down to $40, the price goes down to $30. Whew! So you'd still be okay if the price goes down to $30, but you're at 48%. You're 2 percentage points away from getting liquidated. So as a reminder, all the blue stuff is totally editable. Like, let's say you want to do 40% to start, but then you want to do 30% after that. Well, you can do that. And you can see that if you do that, right, if you start with 40 and then go down to 30, then you can get your LTV down to 30 at 3 loops with a 60% ROI. Well, let me change this to 50 and 50. You can get your LTV down to 33%, which is still pretty dangerous, but at a 56% ROI after 4 loops. So, I mean, play with these numbers. I just wanted to give you guys the tools and opportunities to mess with this. Luna is cool, and some of the strategies that Donku's, you know, popping out are neat and interesting, and I would be happy to model more of them to the best of my ability. I think he is like the guy in this space for strategies. I'm just a humble calculator guy. You know, we got Taiki, he's the humble farmer. You got a lot of people in this space doing really cool stuff, and he definitely has his place. So, anywho, if you want access to this calculator or access to this video before anyone else does, go ahead and join the Patreon. Totally up to you. You can also join and then not pay, right? You can join the Patreon today, and then like on the last day of the month, you can leave because it wasn't for you. But my hope is that I put enough value there that you'll want to stay. But it's up to you. So, you know, make your own choices, do what you gotta do. But there you go. Also, this 100 right here, this 100 is for the initial Luna collateralized. So it's blue because you'll change that. Maybe you initially collateralized 70, right? So what your borrow against 70 Luna would be 1400 because your initial value would be 3500. So this is another number that you would change. There you go. All right, that's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I know this video was a bit all over the place, but hopefully it makes some sense. Have a wonderful rest of your